Yo, John Fitch here. I got another video for you on UFC finance. Our friends at BloodyElbow.com have put up another story by the wizard John Nash. He's one of the very few journalists who is covering any of the class action lawsuit business, any of the finances. And I would say John Nash is one, if not the number one authority in understanding the finances behind the MMA business. And it's not that there isn't a lot of information out there to go through. It's just most of the journalists in MMA choose to avoid it because they fear that they may be punished by the UFC. UFC doesn't want its little dirty secrets talked about. So let's go in, and there's a few things in this little article I'd like to share with you guys. I'm not going to cover the whole thing. You guys can go and read it. John Nash does a really good job reporting this stuff, putting it in a fair and easily understandable way. So if you find some time, make sure you go through and read this. In this article, I want to focus on the discoveries they made, looking at some of the special contracts that some of the fighters get. I thought it was interesting. I think it's good to put out there. I think it's important that other fighters see this so they can see the type of deals that are being made. That's one of the problems in our industry is nobody's supposed to talk about what they're being made or what their contracts look like. So it's kind of a big mystery. That's why we want the Ali Act to make all the finances visible so everybody knows what everybody's being paid and how much money is being made by the promoter. It gives you a better ability to negotiate. So let's check this out. Lawsuit documents reveal even more details on UFC business structure and fighter pay. There's some stuff in here about Hal Singer's expert report. In this article, I really want to focus at the end with the fighter pay. So this will give us a chance to look at what some of the fighters were making. It goes over some of the deals made with some of the fighters. And after I go over that, I'll explain why I think that part's important. Let's check it out. All right, forms of UFC compensation exhibit. The final exhibit is a document that summarizes the various forms of UFC compensation, which we listed earlier, and includes a number of examples for each type of compensation. Here are some of the more noteworthy examples. Ronda Rousey, September 2015 contract, example 99, compensated her $3 million total to show with no win if defending or challenging for a UFC belt, and $500,000 if not challenging for a UFC title. It also provided that she would receive $1 for every pay-per-view between 200,000 buys and 400,000 buys, $2 for every pay-per-view buy between 400,000 buys and 600,000 buys, $3 for every pay-per-view buy between 600,000 buys and 900,000 buys, and $4 for every buy over 900,000 buys. Then Roy Nelson's last contract paid a different amount for his show compensation from his win compensation, with only his bout show compensation rising with each win. 50-50, 75-50, 150, 125-50, 150-50. He apparently ended the contract at $100,000 to show and $50,000 to win. Nelson was to also receive a separate LOA agreement after each bout. The LOA stands for Letters of Agreement. Gegard Mousasi's contract was the inverse of Nelson's, with his show compensation remaining the same, but his win compensation rising with each victory. 75-20, 75-25, 75-30, 75-35, 75-40, 75-45. I think it's kind of crazy that Mousasi only was getting $5,000 increases with each fight because he was already established before he went to the UFC. People know who he was, through athletic performance and people that he's beaten. He might not have been popular, but he was a top fighter. Quentin Jackson's 2014 contract indicated he was to receive pay-per-view payments if he is a defending champion, if he is the main event, or if his first bout is UFC 186. He also had a $300,000 LOA for signing his first bout agreement and an additional $515,000 for completing his first bout, $750,000 for bouts 2, 3, and 4, and Zuffa will locate and purchase for Rampage a new Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat vehicle. Jackson ended up only fighting once under this agreement, returning to Bellator as part of a settlement. Gilbert Melendez and Alistair Overeem also received pay-per-view points when challenging or defending a UFC belt, while Uriah Faber received pay-per-view payments as a defending champion or if he was challenging TJ Dillashaw or Dominic Cruz for the bantamweight belt. CM Punk was to receive pay-per-view payments for first bout, which ended up being at UFC 203. An unnamed fighter at UFC 141 received a LOA payment in lieu of pay-per-view payment. Parties have specifically agreed that in exchange for increasing fighters' total compensation, including bout agreement compensation, from $2,750,000 to $3 million, fighter will not be eligible for or entitled to any pay-per-view for the UFC 141 bout. The obvious guess for this fighter's identity would be Brock Lesnar. I still think that's kind of wild that Brock Lesnar only got $3 million. I figured his name would be a much bigger draw. He would probably bring in a lot more butts to seats than most other guys would. but only $3 million? It doesn't seem like a lot. In addition to receiving a $50,000 Performance of the Night bonuses at UFC 189 in 2015, Conor McGregor also received a $2.11 million discretionary bonus. Holly Holm apparently had a unique clause in her contract regarding incidental compensation that also had a rather specific stipulation regarding any fight with Ronda Rousey. For every non-championship bout, Holly Holm received 2 rooms, 2 economy class flights, $50 per diem for 2 people, 6 tickets to each bout within 10 rows of the octagon if main event, 2 bout tickets for her manager within the first 4 rows, 2 credentials, and the opportunity to pre-sale order 100 tickets to every bout. 1,000 tickets if opponent is Rousey. All right, cool. I think it's really important to know these details because a lot of fighters don't know what's going on in negotiations with these contracts. And this is the big screw job, okay? This is where they get you. This is where they confuse you because you think you're getting all these extra little perks and little things and these little negotiating points in there. So you think you're getting something. You think you're getting a lot. Oh, I got these tickets. I got this seats. I got the per diem. I got whatever. So you think, okay, well, I'm getting all this extra stuff. But it's all smokescreen. It's all bullshit. It's all confusing you. You think you're getting something, but you're getting ripped off. You're negotiating for crumbs when you should be negotiating percentages. If you're really in it, if you really have any leverage, if you're a real athlete and you're a real independent contractor, you're negotiating percentages. Okay, you're going to give me guaranteed money and you're going to give me percentage of the revenue, percentage of how much you make off of that event because you're using my name. That's how a real negotiation should work in sports, but it doesn't for us. They're negotiating these bullshit pay structures. Okay, well now, I'll get more on the front end or more on the back end. I'll get extra tickets. I'll get another flight. I'll get another room. You think you're getting something, but it's bullshit. If you're negotiating percentages, you're going to be making enough money. All that other stuff is easily paid for. It's an easy pay. You pay it out of your pocket. You can write it off on your taxes. It's easy. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to negotiate and bootlick in order to get extra tickets or to get seats in the front row because you're making enough. You're getting a percentage of the take. So you can afford that stuff easy. You're not going to make Brock Lesnar making $3 million for that. He got ripped off. He got robbed. It's not a lot of money. How much money did they make off of that one event? How many people bought that event just because Brock Lesnar was there? 50% of those people? I think there's a major problem in our sport. It's not really a sport. It's pro wrestling. These guys are being exploited. We're all being exploited. It needs to stop. It needs to end. Wake up, guys. Negotiating for these little extra bullshit nothing things, it doesn't matter. Get the percentage. Get a real percentage. All right, I'm done. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, smash the bell so you get notifications every time I put up a new video. Go to johnfitch.net, sign up for the newsletter. Go to patreon.com/johnfitch. Become one of my patrons. Get access to weekly technique videos, some of my blogs, and behind the scenes shenanigans. I'll check you guys later.